Hare Krishna, everybody. Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to our part 2 of our first Iṣṭa-goṣṭhī in this Raise of the Harmonist program. One second. Okay, sorry. All right, so I'll do Jai Vāṇī and then we will start. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Vihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtutarashita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Śrīla Guru Deva Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtutarashita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtutarashita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtutarashita Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtutarashita Shishimar Bhakti Siddhānta Sarasvatī Goswami Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Tadir Shubha Avirbhav Titi Vyas Puja Mahotsav Ki Jai. Swaparshad Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Śrīla Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Śrīla Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Tadiya Shubha Tirubhav Titi Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Balavatita Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtarashita Shishmar Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All the associates of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh, and yesterday I didn't realize this. I found out later on, but it was the appearance day of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur's his I'll just say his name. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Bhudev Shoti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai. Yes, it's appearance day. And I think for you, those of you in the West, it's Śrīla Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada's appearance day still, right? So for us, yes, it's the next day here in India. But here in India, today is also another disciple of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Goswami Prabhupada, Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. It is his, can't remember if it's his appearance day or disappearance day. Let me just look. It is his, anyways, I can't find it. Anyways, one of his days, appearance day or disappearance day. Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Baladev Vijibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Śrīla Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Pada Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari. Shri Gaur Parshada Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachaya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala, Gaura Mandala, Vraja Mandala, Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Paramahansa Kulaswami Jagadguru Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī Prabhupāda ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Vyasa Puja Maha Mahotsav ki jai. The festival going on in all parts of the world on this day by hundreds of thousands of devotees. Ki jai. Jai, or more than hundreds of thousands of devotees, I think. Jai, Śrīla. Everybody coming in the line of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī Prabhupāda ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Let's see all who is here already. I'm just checking on Restream. Dang it. I forgot to load the page, and when I don't do that, I lose all the comments on Facebook, so I can't really tell. But I see there are on YouTube. At least there's Ganga Mataji, Vrinda Didi, Vidyalala Sadidi, Kishore Prabhu, and here on Zoom, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Gerald, Madhusudan Prabhu, Shubhananda Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna. Oh, wait, were you talking to me? Oh, sorry. What is that? This Madhusudan Prabhu from. I don't know, but I'm trying to focus right now. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. So yesterday. Oh wait, let me just open up the comments so that I can. And today is the appearance. Thank you, Madhusudan Prabhu. Today is the appearance of Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj here in India, and for those of you in the West, it will be tomorrow. Oh, you're in the prasadam line. Okay. All right. So yesterday, because I'm not, I'm a little bit slow, and yeah, I'm not so smart. So I had to go through the article very slowly to be able to follow what Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada is saying, because his language is so high class, so refined, but like, yeah, it was very dense as well. So that's why I went through it. I was rereading every sentence over again and trying to say it in my own words to make sure I understood it properly. But now that we've gone through it slowly like that, and I thought it'd be nice just to read it through once quickly, so that we really get the flow of the whole thing. Because yeah, I went a bit too slow, I think, yesterday. So I'm going to read that. I think it will take us around 17 minutes to read the entire article through. And during this time, if you like, you can go to raiseoftheharmonist.com, copy the article. You could just go to raiseoftheharmonist.com, and then you'll see the article there, and you can copy and paste any points that really stood out to you in a Word doc or something. And then when I'm finished reading, then we can go back. You can share those points, those excerpts in the chat, and then we can go through that and discuss it more. And I have one thing that I want to share with you on one of the points, like one similar point from Gurudev, but I didn't really prepare anything else. So yeah. And if the discussion doesn't like naturally like flow or anything like that, then there are other things I could read. There's this article, Arohavad, which is on the same topic by Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur. And there's also Dushtaman Tumi Kiser Vaishnav. I'd really like to sing that. It's a very, very important song that he wrote. So that will be at the end. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll begin. Okay. Haribo Rasapriya Didi. Oh, and Kishore said it's Purushottam Das Thakur's disappearance. I'd never heard that name before. If you could mention a little bit who he is, Purushottam Das Thakur, that would be helpful. Okay, so here is the EPUB that I made for Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda, Speciality of Śrīla Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Vāṇī. And this was published in Sri Sajantoshani, also known as the Harmonist. So this is originally written in English, December 1931. It was an issue volume 29, number 6. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda, Speciality of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Thakur's Vāṇī. And I'm just checking to make sure that mic is plugged in. His specific kindness to those engrossed in all kinds of mental speculation. We avail of the opportunity offered by the anniversary celebrations of the advent of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda to reflect on the right method of obtaining those benefits that have been made accessible to humanity by the grace of this great devotee of Krishna. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has been specifically kind to those unfortunate persons. Hari Mohini Didi, could you close the door? Thank you. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has been specifically kind to those unfortunate persons who are engrossed in mental speculation of all kinds. This is the prevalent malady of the present age. The other acharyas who appeared before Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda did not address their discourses so directly to the empiric thinkers. They had been more merciful to those who are naturally disposed to listen to discourses on the absolute, without being dissuaded by the specious arguments of avowed opponents of Godhead. Śrīla Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has taken the trouble of meeting the perverse arguments of mental speculationists by the superior transcendental logic of the absolute truth. It is thus possible for the average modern readers to profit by the perusal of his writings. That day is not far distant when the priceless volumes penned by Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda will be reverentially translated by the recipients of his grace into all the languages of the world. The writings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda provide the golden bridge by which the mental speculationist can safely cross the raging waters of fruitless empiric controversies that trouble the peace of those who choose to trust in their guidance for finding the truth. As soon as the sympathetic reader is in a position to appreciate the sterling quality of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda's philosophy, the entire vista of the revealed literatures of the world will automatically open out to his reclaimed vision. It is not possible to understand the message of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda without securing his guiding grace. Oh, and just quickly, Purushottam Das Thakur, it's his disappearance day today, and Kishore said that he was a parikar of Nityananda Prabhu. When he was 7, he would dance in Krishna Prem. Okay, nice. He is the Gurudev of Devaki Nandan Das Thakur. Okay, nice to know. Purushottam Das Thakur ki jai. Today Shubha Tirubhavti ki jai. Great. Okay. It is not possible to understand the message of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda without securing his guiding grace. There have, however, already arisen serious misunderstandings regarding the proper interpretation of the life and teachings of Śrīla Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda. Those who suppose they understand the meaning of his message without securing the guiding grace of the Acharya are disposed to unduly favor the methods of empiric study of his writings. There are persons who have got by heart almost everything that he wrote without being able to catch the least particle of his meaning. Such study cannot benefit those who are not prepared to act up to the instructions lucidly conveyed by his words. There is no honest chance of missing the warnings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda. Those, therefore, who are misled by the perusal of his writings are led astray by their own obstinate perversity in sticking to the empiric course which they prefer to cherish against his explicit warnings. Let these unfortunate persons look more carefully into their own hearts for the cause of their misfortunes. The personal service of the pure devotee is essential for understanding the spiritual meaning of the words of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda. The editor of this journal, Śrīla Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada himself, the editor of this journal, originally started by Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda, this Sajantoshini, the Harmonist, has been trying to draw the attention of all followers of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda to this all-important point of his teachings. It is not necessary to try to place ourselves on a footing of equality with Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda. We are not likely to benefit by any mechanical imitation of any practices of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda on the opportunist principle that they may be convenient for us to adopt. The Guru is not an erring mortal whose activities can be understood by the fallible reason of unreclaimed humanity. There is an eternally impassable line of demarcation between the Savior and the saved. Those who are really saved can alone know this. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda belongs to the category of the spiritual world's teachers who eternally occupy the superior position, that of the saviors, the position of the saviors, and we are the saved eternally. This is an impassable line of demarcation. The teachings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda cannot be accessed by hearing from someone who is not devoted. Vidya Lala Sadidi, I just said it's Śrīla Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada himself is the editor of the journal. Okay. Teachings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda cannot be accessed by hearing from someone who is not devoted. The present editor has all along felt it his paramount duty to try to clear up the meaning of the life and teachings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda by the method of submissive listening to the transcendental sounds from the lips of the pure devotee. The Guru, who realizes the transcendental meaning of all sounds, is in a position to serve the Absolute by the direction of the Absolute conveyed through every sound. The transcendental sound is Godhead. The mundane sound is non-Godhead. All sound has got these opposite aptitudes. All sound reveals its divine face to the devotee and only presents its deluding aspect to the empiric pedant. The devotee talks apparently the same language as the deluded empiric pedant who had got by heart the vocabulary of the scriptures. But notwithstanding apparent identity of performance, one has no access to the reality, while the other is absolutely free from all delusion. Those who repeat the teachings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda from memory do not necessarily understand the meaning of the words they mechanically repeat. Those who can pass an empiric examination regarding the contents of his writings are not necessarily also self-realized souls. They may not at all know the real meaning of the words they have learned by the method of empiric study. They might not know, Take, for example, the name Krishna. Every reader of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda's works must be aware that the name manifests himself on the lips of his serving devotees, although he is inaccessible to our mundane senses. It is one thing to pass the examination by reproducing this true conclusion from the writings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda, and quite another matter to realize the nature of the holy name of Krishna by the process conveyed by the words. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda did not want us to go to the clever mechanical reciter of the mundane sound for obtaining access to the transcendental name of Krishna. Such a person may be fully equipped with all the written arguments in explanation of the nature of the divine name. But if we listen to all these arguments from the dead source, the words will only increase our delusion. The very same words coming from the lips of the devotee will have the diametrically opposite effect. Our empiric judgment can never grasp the difference between the two performances. The devotee is always right. The non-devotee in the shape of the empiric pedant is always and necessarily wrong. In one case, there's always present the substantive truth and nothing but the substantive truth. In the other case, there's present the apparent or misleading hypothesis and nothing but untruth. The wording may have the same external appearance in both cases. The non-devotee may recite verses from the scriptures identical to the ones recited by the devotee. And the devotee may even apparently misquote something. But the corresponding values of the two processes remain always categorically different. The devotee is right even when he apparently misquotes, and the non-devotee is wrong even when he quotes correctly the very words, chapter, and verse of the scriptures. The direct, unambiguous appearance of divinity. It is not empiric wisdom that is the object of quest of the devotee. Those who read the scriptures for gathering empiric wisdom will be pursuing a wild goose chase. There are not a few dupes of their empiric scriptural erudition. These dupes have their admiring underdupes. But the mutual admiration society of dupes does not escape, by the mere weight of their number, the misfortunes due to the deliberate pursuit of the wrong course in accordance with the suggestions of our lower selves. What are the scriptures? They are nothing but the record by the pure devotees of the divine message appearing on the lips of the pure devotees. That's the scriptures. The scriptures are... The message conveyed by the devotees is the same in all ages. The words of the devotees are ever identical with the scriptures. Any meaning of the scriptures that belittles the function of the devotee, who is the original communicant of the divine message, contradicts its own claim to be heard. Those who think that the Sanskrit language in its lexicographical sense is the language of divinity are as deluded as those who hold that the divine message is communicable through any other spoken dialects. All languages simultaneously express and hide the absolute. The mundane face of all languages hides the truth. The transcendental face of all sound expresses nothing but the absolute. The pure devotee is the speaker of the transcendental language. The transcendental sound makes his appearance on the lips of his pure devotee. This is the direct, unambiguous appearance of divinity. On the lips of non-devotees, the absolute always appears in his deluding aspect. To the pure devotee, the absolute reveals himself under all circumstances. To the conditioned soul, if he is disposed to listen in a truly submissive spirit, the language of the pure devotee can alone impart the knowledge of the absolute. The conditioned soul mistakes the deluding for the real aspect when he chooses to lend his ear to the non-devotee. This is the reason why the conditioned soul is warned to avoid all association with non-devotees. His teachings demolish the empiric method of approaching the absolute. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda is acknowledged by all his sincere followers as possessing the above powers of the pure devotee of Godhead. His words have to be received from the lips of a pure devotee. If his words are listened to from the lips of a non-devotee, they will certainly deceive. If his works are studied in the light of one's own worldly experience, their meaning will refuse to disclose itself to such readers. His works belong to the class of the eternal revealed literature of the world and must be approached for their right understanding through their exposition by the pure devotee. If no help from the pure devotee is sought, the works of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda will be grossly misunderstood by their readers. The attentive reader of those works will find that he is always directed to throw himself. We read all throughout Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakura's works. The attentive reader of those works, he will find that he is always directed to throw himself upon the mercy of the pure devotee if he is not to remain unwarrantably self-satisfied by the deluding results of his wrong method of study. The writings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda are valuable because they demolish all empiric objections against accepting the only method of approaching the Absolute in the right way. They cannot and were never intended to give access to the Absolute without help from the pure devotee of Krishna. They direct the sincere inquirer of the truth, as all revealed scriptures do, to the pure devotee of Krishna, to learn about him by submitting to listen with an open mind to the transcendental sound appearing on his lips. Before we open any of the books penned by Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda, we would do well to reflect a little on the attitude with which, as the indispensable prerequisite to approach its study. It is by neglecting to remember this fundamental principle that the empiric pedants find themselves so hopelessly puzzled in their vain endeavor to reconcile the statements of the different texts of the scriptures. The same difficulty is already in the process of overtaking many of the so-called followers of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda for the same reason. Only the Absolute can give himself. The person to whom the Acharya is pleased to transmit his power is alone in a position to convey the divine message. This constitutes the underlying principle of the line of succession of spiritual teachers. The Acharya, thus authorized, has no other duty than that of delivering intact the message received from all his predecessors. There is no difference between the pronouncements of one Acharya and another. All of them are perfect mediums for the appearance of the divinity in the form of the transcendental name, who is identical with his form, quality, activity, and paraphernalia. The divinity is absolute knowledge. Absolute knowledge has the character of indivisible unity. One particle of absolute knowledge is, I love this point, one particle of absolute knowledge is capable of revealing all the potency of the divinity. Those who want to understand the contents of the volumes penned by the piecemeal acquisitive method applicable to deluding knowledge available to the mind on the mundane plane are bound to be self-deceived. Those who are sincere seekers of the truth are alone eligible to find him in and through the proper method of his quest. In order to be put on the track of the Absolute, listening to the words of the pure devotee is absolutely necessary. The spoken word of the Absolute is the Absolute. The spoken word of the Absolute is the Absolute. It is only the Absolute who can give himself away to the constituents of his power. The Absolute appears to the listening ear of the conditioned soul in the form of the name on the lips of the sadhu. This is the key to the whole position. The words of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda direct the empiric pedant to discard his wrong method and inclination on the threshold of the real quest of the Absolute. If the pedant still chooses to carry his heirs into the realm of the absolute truth, he only marches by a deceptive bypath into the regions of darker ignorance by his arrogant study of the scriptures. The method offered by Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda is identical with the object of the quest. The method offered by Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda is identical with the object of the quest. The method is not really grasped except by the grace of the pure devotee. The arguments, indeed, are these, but they can only corroborate. But never be a substitute for the word from the living source of the truth, who's none other than the pure devotee of Krishna. Oh, wait, let me reread that. I messed up. But they can only corroborate, but can never be a substitute for the word from the living source of the truth, who is none other than the pure devotee of Krishna, the concrete personal absolute. Oh, Krishna, who is the concrete personal absolute. Sorry, I messed up twice reading that. Should I reread it again? I'll reread it again. Sorry, guys. but they can only corroborate, but can never be a substitute for, the word from the living source of the truth, who is none other than the pure devotee of Krishna, the concrete personal absolute. His greatest gift. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda's greatest gift to the world consists in this. He has brought about the appearance of those pure devotees who are, at present, carrying on the movement of unalloyed devotion to the feet of Sri Krishna by their own whole-time spiritual service of the divinity. The purity of the soul is only analogously, I have a hard time saying this word, analogously describable by the resources of the mundane language. Yeah. The purity of the soul is only analogously describable by the resources of the mundane language. The highest ideal of empiric morality is no better than the grossest wickedness to the transcendental perfect purity of the bona fide devotee of the Absolute. The word morality itself is a mischievous misnomer when it is applied to any quality of the conditioned soul. The hypocritical contentment with a negative attitude is part and parcel of the principle of undiluted immortality. Those who pretend to recognize the divine mission of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda without aspiring for the unconditional service of those pure souls who really follow the teachings of the Ṭhākura by the method enjoined by the scriptures and explained by Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda in a way that is so eminently suited for the requirements of the sophisticated mentality of the present age. So those who don't aspire for the unconditional service of such pure souls who really follow those teachings of Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda, they only deceive themselves and their willing victims by their hypocritical professions and performances. These persons must not be confounded with the bona fide members of the flock. They're misrepresenting the followers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. His prediction, the religious unity of the world. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has... আমি একটু পড়ে দিতে পারি? ঠিক আছে. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has predicted the consummation. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has predicted the consummation of religious unity of the world by the appearance of the only universal church which bears the eternal designation of the Brahma Sampradaya. He has given mankind the blessed assurance that all theistic churches will shortly merge in the one eternal spiritual community by the grace of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The spiritual community is not circumscribed by the conditions of time and space, race and nationality. Mankind had been looking forward to this far-off divine event through the long ages. Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda has made the conception available in its practical spiritual form to the open-minded empiricist who is prepared to undergo the process of enlightenment. The keystone of the ark has been laid, which will afford the needed shelter to all awakened animation under its ample encircling arms. Those who had thoughtlessly allowed their hollow pride of race, pseudo-knowledge, or pseudo-virtue to stand in the way of this long-hoped-for consummation would have to thank only themselves for not being incorporated in the spiritual society of all pure souls. These plain words need not be misrepresented by arrogant persons who are full of the vanity of empiric ignorance as the pronouncements of aggressive sectarianism. Yeah. These plain words must not be represented as the pronouncements of aggressive sectarianism. The aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth is the crying necessity of the aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth is the crying necessity of the moment for silencing the aggressive propaganda of specific untruths that is being carried on all over the world by the preachers of empiric contrivances for the amelioration of the hard lot of conditioned souls. Rukmini Didi mentioned amelioration means the betterment, is it? Is that the right word? Or the, what was it? What did he say? Because I misunderstood it yesterday. Not betterment. He said, oh yeah, improvement. Yeah, okay.
To make better.
To make better. Okay, improvement. Change for the better. Okay, thank you. So, sorry, let me just reread that because the aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth is the crying necessity of the moment for silencing the aggressive propaganda of specific untruths that is being carried on all over the world by the preachers of empiric contrivances for the amelioration of the hard lot of conditioned souls. The empiric propaganda clothes itself in the language of negative abstraction for deluding those who are engrossed in the selfish pursuit of worldly enjoyment. But there is a positive and concrete function of the pure soul, which should not be perversely confounded with any utilitarian form of worldly activity. Mankind stands in need of that positive spiritual function of which the hypocritical impersonalists are in absolute ignorance. The positive function of the soul harmonizes the claims of extreme selfishness with those of extreme abnegation in the society of pure souls, even in this mundane world. In its concrete, realizable form, the function is perfectly inaccessible to the empiric understanding. Its imperfect and misleading conception alone is available by the study of scriptures to the conditioned soul that is not helped by the causeless grace of the pure devotees of Godhead. Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. All of his transcendental teachings ki jai. And the pure devotees who are the ones giving those teachings to us. Ki jai. Jai Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī, foremost of whom is Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī Prabhupāda. Ki jai. Harivo. Wow. Such an important article. I think this is something that we're going to have to come back to every now and then, just so we can, yeah. Yeah, yeah, essential, really. All right, so if anybody, oh, 1 second, just seeing there's some more devotees who joins. All right, Hare Krishna, everybody. Oh, if anybody, oh, 1 second, just seeing there's some more devotees who joins. Hare Prabhu.
Oh, Harival. I have you on both. Let me turn the volume. Where is the... I have you on both. Okay.
But there's a positive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does he continue on? All right. No, I totally agree with you. I think it's one of the most important articles ever written. And I tell you, it expands to nowadays, to us, because I see that we get confused with scholastic achievement with spiritual realization. And I've seen that as many examples of that. Even a long time ago, God Brother knew Bhagavad Gita from cover to cover, memorized the entire thing. But he didn't know how to deal with devotees. He was a manager. He was actually a GBC. And without naming, I'm just saying that I observed, he asked me to come, he was taking over the GBC at that time. And he asked me to come and he wanted to convince me to stay there because Prabhupada asked me to finish the translation. In 73, I was I'd almost done the translation of Bhagavad Gita. To Spanish. And we told Prabhupada, with Hanuman, we told Prabhupada and encouraged me to continue. But so anyhow, I went back to Argentina, came back to where this GBC was, in Mexico, I believe. And anyhow, he wanted me to stay there in the zone. And I was telling him my wife was pregnant at that time. And so she wanted to go back to San Diego. Sorry, I'm making the story long. But I saw his behavior with devotees, and that's an indication of like, yeah, I mean, you have the intellectual understanding, but it it just takes you nowhere with compared to how we treat Vaishnavas, especially devotees and disciples of Prabhupada. They weren't his disciples, but he treated them worse than peons. But anyhow, that was just one thing. The other verse that came to mind is like Prabhupada used to quote all the time, and you might know the verse. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit on the fog because I've been taking medicine for my problem. But so, those who have implicit faith in Krishna and the Guru, Sri Guru, all the purpose of the Vedas are revealed. So I didn't say go to Oxford and get a PhD on Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You won't be able to defend them properly unless we're pure devotees. And then we have the example there. The best article ever by the pure devotee, disciple in a way. I mean, you said, he never really saw his father as the guru, as his father. But yes, his relationship was kind of a guru. So we continue the Shabda Brahma. We continue that sound vibration. And it's wonderful. That part it says, all languages simultaneously hide and reveal the absolute.
Yeah.
That was he was such a genius. What a writer. So, yes. Yeah. So thank you. This is wonderful. And I think we should
read it again sometime.
For sure. We'll definitely come back to it. 100%.
Within the 4 years. Yeah, the 4 years.
Oh, definitely. Maybe we can make it a regular thing, like every few months or something like that. We can come back to it.
I'd love to. And I think it'll motivate. I mean, we can expand it to, try to get it to other devotees. I think it's crucial. This article is very, very important because it will resolve too a lot of the problems that we have, all societies have had about who can initiate or not, what is it, pure devotee.
100%, 100%. Yeah. Rukmini Didi is raising her hand. Rukmini Didi, would you like to say something?
Yes, I have a question for discussion.
Yes.
So I personally know of people and have heard of other people who had actually nothing but Śrīla Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami's books. And
it cut off. You said that you personally know people and then it cut off.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Sorry.
I know people, and I also have heard of additional people who had nothing but Śrīla Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami's books. So I know of a person, he found them in his grandmother's house. And that's the person I personally know. And I have heard of other people who, were alone in a cabin or were even in prison or were in the middle of nowhere in Russia. They didn't know any devotees. They didn't even know how to pronounce anything. But yet they were getting benefit from Śrīla Prabhupada's books. So I wonder, is this because it does say that Śrīla Ṭhākura Bhaktivinoda's books were never meant to be transmitted without the presence of a pure devotee. So does that mean that there's a different quality, or is it a different quality of the bhakti that they're getting? It's a different stage of bhakti. Like you can get a little bit of bhakti with only the books. How do people understand this in comparison to the books that are distributed of Śrīla Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami?
This is the thing that immediately comes to my mind, and I'm curious to hear what everybody else has to say also. But this is the initial thought, is that it's kind of like with Harinam also. This is just my idea. I'm not like, this isn't authoritative what I'm saying, but like with Harinam, when any conditioned soul hears Harinam, maybe not coming from the mouth, when they hear Harinam, then they'll get sukriti. And then when that sukriti, when there's more and more sukriti, then that sukriti will bring them to the pure devotee. Like once the sukriti accumulates to a certain extent, then they'll, and so reading the books of Śrīla Prabhupada which is actually Śrīla Prabhupāda's direct word. So it is directly coming from a pure devotee. But also like just the words in the book alone are not enough. We need to hear directly from the pure devotee as well. And so my thought is that by reading those books of Śrīla Prabhupada, then their Sukriti comes up to the point where they'll eventually come to the devotees, either in this lifetime or in a future lifetime, but definitely they'll be on the path to getting the shelter of a Mahabhagavat so that they can continue the path. That's just my initial thought. Does anybody have anything else? And what do you think about that, Rukmini Didi?
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very good point, though. Yeah.
Can you go over again, please? I'm sorry, I was a little distracted here. And what the question was.
Okay, I was just saying that
pure devotees.
Oh, okay. But
But they read the books.
Yeah.
Of course, there's benefit.
well,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
we get the Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti, which will bring us to the feet of a pure devotee who we can take shelter of.
Yes. It's the pure devotee is condensed, is recorded, so it's Shastra too, isn't it? The pure devotee, whatever the article says that. So yeah, they will definitely, like you said, I think, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, the books can never replace the pure devotee. The written words can never replace the pure devotee, but they can bring us to the pure devotee. And also, if we do approach it after we've learned the process, and if we do approach it in this method that Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda has explained to us, then yeah, we can be in direct connection with the pure devotee through his words written, like his written words. If we approach in this way, then we are, and we're following. That's the main thing, is that we're not just reading the words trying to like get some knowledge in our brain, some whatever, but we're actually surrendering ourselves to every word and trying to, like Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur says, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya, make those words coming from the mouth of Guru one with our heart. They mold us, they make us who we are. Like we're shaped by the words of the pure devotee. Then that's the method. We have to have the words shape us. Like the words, we completely let the words create who we are, our entire being, and then we're in connection with the pure devotee. And
yes,
yeah, that's
in the times of Śrīla Prabhupada, because I read also an article, I can't remember, but Bhupen Gaudiya Vaishnava, some of one of our acharyas, or maybe pure devotee in our line, disciples of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur, that chanting Harinam with a mixed public is no benefit and no good. But in the case, like let's say specifically about Prabhupada, while he was on the planet, and then he continued to give the same instructions for posterity, to that we were sent by him to chant the holy name. So there was an empowerment there. So
that was a point that he made, wasn't it? When
yeah.
a pure devotee chooses to what is how did he word it? I forgot. But yeah, that was a really beautiful point. Sorry, I cut you off. Keep on.
So no, that's fine. Then also I remember, like, they asked George Harrison, we was talking about devotees, George Harrison, and I think it was telling Lennon, said, well, 50% of the people you see here, they came because of me, because of my chanting. But he didn't say it was my chanting, but it was the chanting of that I, it's true. George Harrison got to corners all over the world. Being so famous, the Beatles, I remember getting the album in the 60s, late 60s, and like that. So, but he was empowered by Śrīla Prabhupada. So, and I think, Rumini, I think you referred to the Russian devotee. There's a lady in Russia for like 20 years. She never met devotees, but she had the books. And she just had so much faith. Just by reading the books, like the article said, you just don't sit on the lines, try to learn or memorize, but you jump in to apply what you're hearing from the pure devotee, whether it's in written form or directly from his lips, isn't it?
Yeah, and if we do that really like sincerely, then we will eventually come into the contact, like the direct proximity of a pure devotee, and be able to
Sangha, yeah.
continue on.
But you
Right.
also were making the point that on the spiritual platform, it's absolute. If these words emanated from Śrīla Prabhupada or Śrīla Narayan or so many, Narottam Das Thakur, if they originated from the pure devotee, then they're coming from the pure devotee, even if they're in
It's
written
Shastra.
form or in the past. And it's like Vāṇī and Vapu are different and the same, but on the absolute platform, everything's in the name, even if it's just in a written form. You can't limit. You can say to avoid the pure devotee and think you can do it without him. That's more what I get from this. But if you have no access to the pure devotee, it's the same thing. If you're reading the words of the pure devotee, they're emanating from him. And Vaishnavas never die. They live in sound. So, it's unlimited. But if you think by your own endeavor and without associating, and you don't need to be around the pure devotee, then you don't get the benefit.
100%. Yep.
Well, I was thinking, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, without the mercy of Krishna, we don't receive the mercy of Guru. With the mercy of Guru, we
We were
receive the
talking
understanding.
about that verse today.
No, we receive the understand Krishna. So in the heart of those people who never, like, for example, that Russian woman or the other devotees, I met people that were in the jungle and somebody knocked on the door and gave them the books, and they became devotees later on. But there has to be some initial sincerity in their heart. Ours is tricky because you can say, well, the books are there, Prabhupada's books are there, Srila Narayana Maharaj's books are there. People independently can just grab them and okay, I'll study them and I'll memorize. But if there is no sincerity on the search for God, or love of God,
What was it? Was it Prabhupada speech that said
something
today that
something.
Maya's job is to make sure that no one can become sincere.
Yes.
Wow. Rup Manjari and Paramahansa Prabhu, they've both been writing a bunch of comments on YouTube. I'll just read them out so that they can. Okay, so Rup Manjari, in regards to Rukmini Didi's question, she said, could it be a matter of seed and soil where those particular souls were bringing some qualification from previous life or had contact with a saintly person from another tradition? And the fact you know of them means eventually they were more directly connected. So the books sustains them until they had direct connection. IME, what's that mean? A different type, a level. Yes, that's a very good point, Rup Manjari. So that's also
IME is in my experience.
Oh, in my experience. Okay. Okay. And then that's also a key point. Those folks were greedy for an in-person connection, whereas he's warning against those who are ignoring an opportunity. Yes, who think that it's just about knowledge and they can they can figure it out themselves. They don't need help. But then that means that they're not actually, right? He said that then they're ignoring Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explicit warnings, which are all throughout his books. There's no honest chance of missing this point because he's always saying that we have to go directly to the pure devotee. And so if you ignore that and you're just trying to get all the information, then rather than getting any kind of gyan or knowledge or anything like that, actually you're deluding yourself. It's the complete opposite of understanding. It's 100% delusion, even though you're directly repeating the very points perfectly that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, it's all delusion because it's not, yeah. And then Paramahansa Prabhu, I'm just reading his comments. He said, this article highlights exactly the issues surrounding Guru, Tattva, Jiva, etc., which my Guru Maharaj, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, faced in the misunderstandings in regards to Srila Prabhupada's books. They have submissive inquiry. They are not arrogant interpreters. They humbly submit to the Acharya, not reading for their own self-aggrandizement. I have a hard time saying that word. Aggrandizement. Yes.
Aggrandizement, or at least
Oh,
that's
it's
how I say it.
Oh, aggrandizement. Okay. Yes. Wow, very good point. Thank you, Paramahansa Prabhu. Yes. There's one thing that I wanted to read from, like, it's in the beginning of in all of my Gurudev's books. Whenever he published a book by Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he would give this life summary of Śrīla, like a little biography of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And I thought this one part of his life would be really relevant to this. The story of his attaining the meaning of calm Gayatri by the mercy of Srimati Radhika. Because so many times people, like on that point where Śrīla Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada is talking about those who try to put themselves on a level of equality of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and they read his writings in a critical way, like, well, I don't agree with that, and or they don't, yeah, they don't approach him in the proper way. And like we've seen this happen recently, where people have seen contradictions in the words of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And well, they see contradictions, even though there isn't any contradictions, but because they haven't approached his writings in the proper mood, then they see contradictions of, oh, well, Śrīla Jiva Goswami explained it in this way, and what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says here is completely contradicts what Śrīla Jiva Goswami is saying. And so, and then they would come up with different ways of trying to reconcile it on their own. But actually, it was completely offensive, like really, because it's like that's arrogant study of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, when you think you've actually understood and know better or know just as well as Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so in contrast to that, where I wanted to share the example of Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is the way that we approach the words of our Guru Varga. And if we don't understand them, then this is the mood that we should aspire for. So this is attaining the meaning of the calm Gayatri by the mercy of Srimati Radhika. This is my Gurudev's writing. Yeah. Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has described a special event in Mantrartha Dipika, a book personally compiled by him. Once, while studying and teaching Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he came upon a verse describing the meaning of the calm Gayatri mantra. And it goes, Kama Gayatri mantra rup, hoy Krishner swarup, Sarda Chabis Akshar tar hoy, She Akshar Chandra hoy, Kori Krishna Kori Udoy, Tri Jagat Koila Kama Moy. It's from Madhya Lila 21:125. So, Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, the calm Gayatri is identical with Sri Krishna. In this king of mantras, there are 24.5 syllables, and each syllable is a full moon. This aggregate of moons causes the moon of Sri Krishna to rise. This aggregate of moons causes the moon of Sri Krishna to rise and fills the 3 worlds with prem. Wow, it's beautiful. So there's 24.5 syllables, he's saying. This verse establishes that the calm Gayatri is composed of 24.5 syllables. But despite deep deliberation, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur could not ascertain which syllable in the mantra was the half syllable. He scrutinized grammar books, Puranas, Tantras, scriptures dealing with drama and rhetoric, and other great texts. So he didn't think, oh, well, that must be wrong, because in all these places that I'm looking, it doesn't say that. But no, he kept on looking, because nothing Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says could ever be false. And so he see the endeavor that he went through, though, to try to understand. And then among the vowel, he didn't just like come to a conclusion that he was wrong or something. Among the vowel and consonant groups of Sri Harinamamritya Vyakaran, the Sanskrit grammar methodology of Śrīla Jiva Goswami, he found mention of only 50 letters. He also studied the arrangement of letters, the matrika, in texts such as Matrikanyasa and in the Radhika Sahasranam Stotra in the Brihanaradiya Purana. Sorry, in that Radha Sahasranam Stotra, he found that Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radhika is also called the Panchashar Varna Rupini, one whose form is composed of 50 syllables. In all the literatures he studied, however, he found mention of only 50 vowels and consonants. There is no mention of any half syllable. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's doubt increased. He wondered whether Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had made a mistake in his writing. Of course, this could not have been possible. He couldn't have ever made a mistake, as Srila Kaviraj is omniscient and therefore free from material defects such as falling into illusion or error. If the fragmented letter, like the ta, the final letter of the Kam Gayatri, were taken as the half syllable, then Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami would be guilty of the fault of disorder. For in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in that verse, 126 to 128 in chapter 21, he is given the following description. He said, Sakihe Krishna Mukha Dvija Raja Raj, Krishna Vapu Singhasani, Boshi Raja Shasani, Kore Sange Chandrer Samaj. Dui Ganda Suchikan, Jini Mani Sudarpan, She Dui Purna Chandra Jani, Lalate Ashtami Indu, Tahate Chandana Bindu, She Eka Purna Chandramani, Kara Naka Chander Hat, Vangshir Upakore Nat, Tar Gita Muralir Tan, Pada Naka Chandragan, Tole Kore Nartan, Nupurer Dwani Jar Gan. In these lines, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes Sri Krishna's face as the first moon. His cheeks are the two full moons. The dot of sandalwood on the upper portion of his forehead is the fourth full moon, and just below this is the moon of the 8th day, Ashtami. In other words, a half moon. According to this description, the 5th syllable is the half syllable. Yet if the fragmented ta, the final letter of the Kam Gayatri mantra, is seen to be the half syllable, then the 5th syllable cannot be seen as such. So no, it couldn't be the T at the end. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was in a profound dilemma because he could not decipher the mysterious half syllable. He concluded that if the syllables would not reveal themselves, he would be unable to behold the worshipful deity of the mantra. He decided that if he could not obtain the audience of the revered deity of the mantra, it would be better for him to die. It would be better to die. Thinking in this way, he set out at night on the bank of Radhakund to give up his life. After the second division of the night had passed, Srila Chakravarti Thakur fell into a light sleep. At that time, the daughter of Rishabhanu Maharaj, Srimati Radhika, appeared before him. O Vishwanath, O Hari Vallabh, she said affectionately, do not lament. What Krishnadas Kaviraj has written is the absolute truth. By my grace, he knows all the inner sentiments of my heart. Have no doubt about his statements. The Kam Gayatri is a mantra to worship my dearly beloved and me, and we become revealed to the devotees through the syllables of this mantra. No one can know us without my kindness. The half syllable is described in the book Varna Agama Bhasvat. It was after consulting this text that Krishnadas Kaviraj determines the actual identity of the Kam Gayatri. Study this book and broadcast its meaning for the benefit of all faithful people. When he heard this instruction from Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimati Radhika herself, Srila Chakravarti Thakur arose, calling out in great lamentation, O Radha, O Radha. After regaining composure, he proceeded to carry out Srimati Radhika's order. According to Srimati Radhika's indication, the letter Ya preceding V in the mantra is considered a half syllable, and all the other syllables are full syllables or full moons. So the ya is the half syllable. Thus, by Srimati Radhika's mercy, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur became acquainted with the deep meaning of the mantra. He attains the direct audience of his worshipful deity, and in his internal perfected spiritual body, in his Siddha Deha, he was able to participate in the Lord's eternal pastimes as his loving associate. He established the deity of Sri Gokulananda on the bank of Radhakund, and while residing there, he experienced the sweetness, the madhurya of the eternal pastimes of Sri Vrindavan. It was at this time that he wrote the Sukha Vartini commentary on Sri Kavi Karnapur's Ananda Vrindavan Champu, as stated therein. Inside his commentary, he writes, I, Chakravarti, completely leave aside all other things and only desire to attain Sri Vrindavan. Residing in a simple hut on the bank of Sri Radhakund, the topmost place of Sri Radha's pastimes, I write this commentary on Ananda Vrindavan Champu. In his old age, Śrīla Chakravarti Thakur spent most of his time in either a fully internal state or in a semi-conscious state, deeply absorbed in bhajan. His principal disciple, Sri Baladev Vijayabhushan, took over the responsibility of teaching the scriptures. Okay, so anyways, yeah, that's the example, that's the ideal, that kind of mood, that when I'm not able to understand something, it's not the fault of the writer. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, he said he couldn't have ever made a mistake. He's omniscient. He knows everything. So this is we should always, whenever we're not able to reconcile something or not understand something, it is our inability. And if we are able to cultivate this mood that we see through the example of Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then it will be revealed to us. Like Srimati Radhika herself appeared in Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's dream because of this mood. And so this is our, yeah, I just thought that was a really beautiful example. Does anybody have anything on that point? Anything else that they? Okay, I'm just going to look quickly at the comments. There's a lot of comments coming in. Okay. Oh, that's strange. This Facebook stream went down. I don't know why. That's very strange. Oh, I think it's because of this weird thing that's been happening to me lately. It keeps on flagging my content as copyrighted stuff, and then it's been happening all the time. It happened yesterday as well in the middle of the reading. All right, so it is 8:08. I was thinking maybe if for anybody who still has some more time. Oh, Shubhananda was saying this was the direct example what we read in the article. Yeah, from what we read in the article, this is a direct example. Yes, yes. Shubhananda, do you have anything that you'd like to share? Okay, so then I thought if for anybody who still has time, then if anybody has to go, I know I'm going over time right now, but if anybody would like to stay, I thought it'd be really nice to sing Dushtaman Tumi Ki Ser Vaishnav by Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupāda. Like, I think that would be really pleasing to him.
Haribol Prabhuji, Dhanvar Pranam.
Yes, oh yes, Radha Vinod Prabhu. Yes.
Sorry. Just by the mercy of all the Vaishnavas, I just want to quickly add something. Such a nice discussion. There is something our Guru Varga has always said, there is a Shabda Samanya and a Shabda Brahma, right? The Shabda Brahma descends from Golok Vrindavan to the pure soul. Soul is always pure, you know what I mean? Soul is Krishna Shakti, Soul is always pure. It's the covering the ego, as we have seen in here as well, the ego which doesn't let it in, right? So this Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur again, because I've read him a lot of things from him, Madhuri Kadambini and Raghavan Chandrika. The revelation in there was that sanskar, this is all sanskar, right? So some people have got arvachin, means new sanskar, first time they have come in contact. Some has got prachin sanskar, right? But means old sanskar. Sorry, I'm not an English native speaker, so if I miss something out, you'll have to clarify because you know all the languages, right? But the point here is that I was hearing, so basically it means that some had, that verse from Bhagavad Gita, Neha Bhikram Nasho Asti Pratyavayana Vidyate. right? You carry on this journey. There's no loss in it, right? So when they came further in the journey, according to their own karmas, and got connected to Shabda Brahma, it's totally, it's beyond timeline. If we are in Khandakal, right? Broken period. But in the Nitya Leela, like in our pure state, there is no Khandakal. We are always with Krishna, serving Krishna. So I remember Param Gurudev, Om Nityabhasha Śrī Śrīmad Bhaktivinoda Gosvāmī Maharaji, saying in one of the conversation, and that got me like a sit up and thinking. And he said, very laughingly, he says, "Oh, you know what? You'll get prema in this very lifetime." And I think Savita Didi was asking that question. I cannot, because audio I cannot know, who is. And it was, what did you say? And he said, yeah, because you're a jiva. Your lifetime is anadi. So you will definitely get prema in this very life. And I was like, okay, that's a very good like motivation, to keep carrying on and not worry about the external things. It really gave me that kind of fuel. So that's what I'm saying, is that, all these Mahajans, when they are coming, because sorry if I don't want to say it that way, but we as a Shakti and Radharani as our Ashray, we are samjatiya, of the same category, because we are a Shakti and she is the Mool Shakti. So she is the one who arranges, remember? And because of her power, even Krishna says to Gokumar, Swagatam, Swagatam. In Brihad Bhagavatamrit, oh, you came, you took so many births. I was like waiting for you. I was dancing, taking a birth again. And so I'm just, because we have less time, but this is what it is, right? We are supposed to get Shabda Brahma as it is. That's why it's always as it is. If we put our own ego forward, I am such a learned person, I am this, I am that, or, oh my God, I can't get this, that is our problem. That is our problem. It is not. Guru Varga has given, as the way you said there, it's complete. It's complete in whole, full. It is how we take it is a problem. So the more we chanting do, the more sadhu sangha we do, the more connection we have with the pure Naam, that is manifest that way. It's just magic. So I just wanted to quickly point that out. And I'm really waiting for Dushtamana, because I was waiting for it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Radhe, 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 Radhe.
Very beautifully put, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, and it's this transcendental sound, the everything in the transcendental realm is what is it? Anirvachaniya? Like it's completely beyond description. It can't be described by words. It can't be accessed by any material senses, the material mind. And so when these words from Vaikuntha are coming into this world in the shape of sounds, it's like, different words, the sounds of the different words, that is not actually the truth. It's the sounds behind it. And so it's 100% impossible to understand a single sentence of any of the words of our acharyas or any of the scriptures through the mind, because it's not accessible to, the words can't even be expressed with material words and language. And so it's all about what's behind the words. We have to go deeper than just the external words and come in touch with the transcendental sounds behind them, like the source of it. I didn't, that wasn't very clear. You explained everything much more nicely, actually. But yeah, that is the all important point, isn't it? It's 100 only by mercy, 100% by mercy. And if we can understand and then even just one thing can reveal everything. If we understand one sentence of our Guru Varga truly, then everything else is revealed to them, because then you get access to the Vaikuntha realm of these transcendental, where it's all coming from. All right, so now we will end with Dushtaman Tumi Kisera Vaishnav. Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda. Here, let me share my screen. Thank you, Radha Vinod Vihar Prabhu. Okay. Who is a Vaishnav? By Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī Prabhupāda. Okay. Oh, and Pradyumna, I just noticed your comment, and at the end I'll come back to it, but I don't want to keep people here who don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, because it's starting to get late. So at the end, I'll address that. Okay. Śrīla Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada says, "O wicked mind, what kind of Vaishnav are you? Your chanting, which you perform in a solitary place for the sake of prestige, is solely pretense. Worldly fame is the excrement of hogs. Do you not know that it is the wealth of Maya? What is the use of fixating day and night on wealth and women when all these are temporary? Your wealth is a source of sense enjoyment. Use it to serve Madhav, the husband of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi, who is the goddess of fortune, the goddess of wealth. Use all wealth. Use it to serve Madhav, the husband of Lakshmi Devi. Fulfilling the desires of women is not your domain, for their sole master is Sri Yadhav. He alone can fully satisfy their desires. The tree of the desire for prestige is like the mirage in the desert that Ravan was unable to attain by fighting Sri Raghav, Ramachandra. Be steadfast in your acceptance of the prestige that comes from being a Vaishnav. This is the kind of prestige that we want. If you do not observe this, then you will go to the hellish planet known as Rodav. Envying the devotees of Sri Hari is an affliction arising from your desire for prestige. So why do you see so much glory in that prestige? The spiritual fame that follows the Vaishnavas is never to be considered a temporary material glory, for it occurs in relationship to Sri Hari and is devoid of the stench of Maya. In it, there is never any mundane duplicity. Know that the dog-eating outcast woman of worldly prestige and the snare of solitude, that is solitary bhajan, are both illusory hells. I shall give up kirtan and smear myself with worldly honor by performing solitary bhajan. What is the use of seeking such glory? Always know that Madhavendra Puri never stole, that is, he never falsely displayed the symptoms of bhav. Your fame is the excrement of hogs. Never consider it to be equivalent to his. Under the control of envy, you have drowned yourself in mundane ras by renouncing the sublime beauty of kirtan. Therefore, O wicked mind, you fraudulently propagate solitary bhajan, which is the useless wealth of a false renunciate. You should meditate upon all that Sriman Mahaprabhu taught with great care to Srila Sanatana Goswami. Never forget the following two instructions. 1. Chant the holy names of Sri Hari in a loud voice. And 2. Never consider Falgu and Yukta Vairagya, that's false and appropriate renunciation, to be the same. And never consider Baddha and Mukta Jivas, bound and liberated souls, to be the same. That person whom wealth, women, and the tigress of prestige have given up is indeed a Vaishnav. Such a person is detached. And there's a footnote here. It says, in other words, after wealth, women, and prestige fail in their attempts to subjugate that person, they give up any further efforts to bring him under their control and instead serve him. So that person whom wealth, women, and the tigress of prestige have given up is indeed a Vaishnav. Such a person is a detached, pure devotee before whom material existence accepts defeat. Where only those sense objects necessary to maintain the body are accepted, there is no disease or pitfall. What else can be said about such detachment? When free from attachment, one sees all objects of enjoyment in connection with Madhav. This is appropriate renunciation, and great fortune is found there. Indeed, in the material realm, the wealth of Sri Hari is found therein. However, the glory of one who performs kirtan to enhance his reputation is merely fraudulent. Give up both the desire of renouncing worldly objects and craving for mundane pleasure, both. O mind, give them both up, for both are unbefitting of Vaishnava. Connection of these two propensities with Sri Krishna is the source of transcendence. That connection is never possible for materialists. The hearts of those who accept the philosophy of impersonalism are directed away from Sri Krishna. Arrogant about their liberation, they blaspheme the Vaishnavas. Your aspiration for bhakti depends on the service to the Vaishnavas. So why have you invited this struggle with solitude? A false renunciate who calls himself an ascetic can never become a Vaishnava. By giving up the lotus feet of Sri Hari and increasing his solitude, the glory of whatever result he obtains is simply a sham. Becoming situated in Radha Dasya, the service of Sri Radha, release yourself from the serpent of material enjoyment. Know that the desire for respect and adoration is not the glory of kirtan. O minds, having given up the association of Sri Radha's eternal servants, why have you adopted the fraudulent practice of solitary bhajan? The residents of Raj are the true preachers and wealth of the Lord. They are not beggars of worldly fame who are like corpses. Indeed, because they are infused with life, they propagate the narrations of Sri Krishna everywhere, devoid of any desire for prestige. Sri Daita Das places all his hopes in kirtan. O minds, chant the names of Sri Hari in a loud voice, because through the potency of kirtan, remembrance of the Lord will arise. Only at that time will solitary bhajan be possible. We got a lot of help from Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī to make this translation. He answered all of our questions in this. All right, so we'll sing this all together because it's late, so we'll just sing it through. I won't do lead and response. And yeah, all right. Oh, and regarding the Kam Gayatri thing, Kishore said, this reminds me of a past time with Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Prabhupada. He said a devotee was explaining Kam Gayatri. In Prabhupada's room, Prabhupada was lamenting, I have not been able to catch the flowers. Huh. Interesting. I'd like to hear more about that, hear more from that person. Okay. Let me just check to make sure that I have noise cancellation turned off. There. Okay, now you can hear the mridanga. Okay. Just need to drink a gulp of water. Adushta mana tumi kisera Vaishnava. Adushta mana tumi kisera Vaishnava. Pratishthara tare nirjanir ghare tava hari naam kevala kaitava dushta man tumi kiser Vaishnav jarer pratishta shukarer bhishta jano na kitaha mayar vaibhava kanaka kamini divas jamini Bhabiya ki kaj anitya shesa tomar kanaka bhoger janaka kanaker dware sevo ho madhava कामनीर काव नहे तव धाम ताहर मालिक केवल यादव प्रतिष्ठा शतरो जड़ माया मरो ना पेलो रावण जुजिया राघव दुष्ट मन तुम्हें किसेर वैष्णव दुष्ट मन तुम्हें किसेर वैष्णव वैष्णवी प्रतिष्ठा ताते करो निष्ठा ताहा न भजिले लोभी बेरो रव हरि जन द्वेष प्रतिष्ठा शक्लेश करो केनो तबे ताहार गौरव दुष्ट मान तुम्हें किसेर वैष्णव दुष्ट मान तुम्हें किसेर वैष्णव वैष्णवेर पाचे प्रतिष्ठा शायाचे तात कभो नहे अनित्य वैभव शे हरि संबंध शून्य माया गंध अतः कभो नय जड़ेर कैतव प्रतिष्ठा चंदाली निर्जनता जाली उभये जानी हो माये करो रव कीर्तन छाड़िब प्रतिष्ठा माखिब कि काज ढूंढिया तादृश गौरव मारवेंद्र पुरी भाव घरे चुरी ना करी लोक सदाय जानब তোমার প্রতিষ্ঠা শুকরের বিষ্ঠা তার সহসম কভো না মানব মৎসরতা বসে তুমি জড় রসে মজেছ ছাড়িয়া কীর্তন সৌষ্ঠবতায় দুষ্ট মান निर्जन भजन प्रचारी चले कुजोगी वैभव प्रभु सनातने परम जतने शिक्षा दिलो जाहा चिंतो से सब से दुटी कथा भूलो न सर्वथा उच्च स्वरे करो हरि नाम रव फल्गु आर युक्त बद्ध आर मुक्त कबु न भावी हो एकाकार सब कनक कामिनी प्रतिष्ठा भागिनी छाड़ियाचे जारे हसे तो वैष्णव कनक कामिनी प्रतिष्ठा भागिनी छाड़ियाचे जारे से तो वैष्णव हसे अनासक्त से शुद्ध भक्त संसार तथाय पाय पराभव जता जोग भोग नाही तथा रोग अनासक्त से कि आर कहबो आसक्ति रहित संबंध सहित विषय समूह सकली माधव दुष्टमान तुम्ही किसेर वैष्णव असे युक्त वैराग्य ताहा तो सौभाग्य ताहाय जड़े ते हरिर वैभव कीर्तने जाहार प्रतिष्ठा संभार ताहरा संपत्ति केवल कैतव विषय मोक्षो भोगेर बुभुक्षो दुई त्याजो मान दुई अवैष्णव कृष्णेर संबंध अप्राकृत स्कंध कबो न हेता जड़ेर संभव मायावादी जन कृष्णेतर मन मुक्तयभिमाने शेनेन्ते वैष्णव वैष्णवेर्दास तव पतियाश वैष्णवेर्दास तव पतियाश केनो बाधा खींचो निर्जन आहव जय फल्गु वैरागी कहे निजे त्यागी सेना पारे कबो होइते वैष्णव हरिपद छाड़ी निर्जनता पाड़ी लभिया की फल फल्गु से वैभव राधा दासे रही छाड़ो भोगयाही प्रतिष्ठा शान है कीर्तन गौरव राधा नित्य जन ताहा छाड़ी मान केनो वा निर्जन भजन कैतव व्रजवासी गण प्रचारक दान प्रतिष्ठा भिक्षुक तारण हे शव प्राणया चेतार से हेतु प्रचार प्रतिष्ठा शाहीन कृष्ण गाथा सब श्रीदायित दास कीर्तन ते आश करो उच्चय स्वरे हरि नाम रव कीर्तन प्रभावे स्मरण होइबे कीर्तन प्रभावे स्मरण होइबे से काले निर्जन भजन संभव से काले निर्जन भजन संभव दुष्ट मन तुम्हें किसेर वैष्णव दुष्ट मन तुम्हें किसेर वैष्णव हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय जगर गुरु शील प्रभुपादा जय भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद जय स्वपार्षद श्रीला प्रभुपादा स्वपार्षद श्रीला प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरु परंपरा गुरु परंपरा गुरु परंपरा हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashatara Shata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashatara Shata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashatara Shata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Sai Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashatara Shata Shishmar Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashatara Shata Shishmar Shila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shila Gaurkishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Jai Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Shila Jagar Guru. My Param Gurudev said, Paramahamsa Kula Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, now I'll tell you after. Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Vallabha Shila Gaur Govinda Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. It's his disappearance day for those of you in the West. Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Oh, and also Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Daita Madhav Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. And for those of you in the West, it's Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shata Shishmad Shila Bhakti Bhudev Shoti Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Today is his appearance day, same appearance day as Śrīla Prabhupada. And then for those of us here in India, it's Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. It says Tvadir Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai. Jai, all the associates of Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. And then all those coming in the line of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pada Ki Jai. Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damadai Rai Ramanandari. Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachaya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Abhinna Vrindavan Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ishodhyan Ki Jai. Jai Shri Akar, I'll do this first. Jai Shri Sarva Abhishtabhardata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Vrajapatan, that's Vraj, the Vraj in Mayapur that Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada himself established. Vrajapatan Ki Jai. Akar Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. That's the original Mat. Akar Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Jai Shri Otat Shaka Mat Sumuha Ki Jai. All the mats coming from that mat and all the branches of that mat. Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai. The Vyas Puja celebration, the grand 150th Vyas Puja celebration being performed all over the world by millions of devotees. Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Jagar Guru Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Oh, and also, I forgot, Kishore mentioned, it is, what is it? Purushottam Das Thakur Ki Jai, Nityananda Prabhu's associate, right? Yeah. Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhyai Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hare Krishna. So I'm thinking it depends what the article is. If it's a very like an article like this, then I think we'll always extend it 2 days, so that one day we can just go through it really slowly and try to understand the meaning, and then once we've understood it a little bit better and we've had a day to think about it, then the next day we can meet again and do like we did today. We can read through it quickly and then discuss it afterwards. I think that's a good system. You can let me know what you think though, and then yeah. So tomorrow, I have no idea. This reading that we do is daily. The Rays of the Harmonist Iṣṭa-goṣṭhī thing is 4 times a month, or maybe more if we extend it 2 days. But then the rest of the days, I guess we should start Chaitanya Bhagavat soon. If we're going to extend these Rays of the Harmonist readings, make them 2 days, then because I want to finish Chaitanya Bhagavat on the disappearance day of Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur, May 3rd, I think it is. And so maybe we will have tomorrow. We'll have one more reading about the glories of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur, because these 2 days we've just been focused on his teachings. But now it'd be nice to read. We read glorification for my Gurudev, but now it'd be nice to read another glorification about him tomorrow. So if anybody has anything they recommend, I don't have anything planned out what we should read yet. If anybody has anything very beautiful that they want to share, maybe from Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Gosvāmī Maharaj, my Param Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Keshav Gosvāmī Maharaj, Śrīla Bhakti Madhav Gosvāmī Maharaj, any of our Guru Varga's glorification of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupada, please share with me on WhatsApp or anywhere, and then we can all come together and read more of his glories. Yeah. Okay, Rukmini likes that system. That's great. Cool. Just looking at the comments. Okay. All right. There's one comment for Jumna Prabhu made that I wasn't able to get to. The pure devotees are needed, even though we may have books. But Śrīla Prabhupada said, I am in my books. Why do we reconcile that we need a living pure devotee? Well, this is just one practical thing. I mean, I'm sure Nari Hari Prabhu he's mentioned he's experienced this, and I've seen this from so many Prabhupada disciples. I've heard this from everybody, my parents included. They said that after Śrīla Prabhupada's disappearance, then after a while, Śrīla Prabhupada's words became kind of dry. Like the words, Śrīla Prabhupada's own words became kind of boring. Like they stopped reading them because they weren't getting so much juice out of it. It's just like the same thing over and over again. Not everybody was saying that, but some devotees, I've heard Prabhupada disciples saying this, that they kind of lost interest in reading Śrīla Prabhupada's books. And then when they came into contact with my Gurudev, then all of a sudden they came back to those words that kind of became dry to them. All of a sudden, like the words came alive and they were able to understand them in such a deeper way. Like, wow, this is what we've been reading. Like they didn't have access to it before. Like and that's the thing. The words of pure devotees reveal the words of other pure devotees, and they all increase our understanding of the other pure devotees. It's not like they ever take away from the other. They actually help our understanding. And so we need the help of a pure devotee to be able to access the words of another pure devotee. Like yeah. And I remember Bhadra Mataji saying that after she met Gurudev, she just became addicted to Śrīla Prabhupada's books. She couldn't stop reading. She said that she opened up Chaitanya Charitamrita and it was like completely a new experience that she's never had before. And she couldn't stop. She's just like relishing it constantly. So that's a Shiksha Guru. A Shiksha Guru establishes us. I shared a few quotes from my Param Gurudev on this topic. Anyways. I'm just seeing what Rukmini Didi is saying. Yes, let's please share that with me, Rukmini Didi. If you can share with me the latest version. Well, tomorrow we're going to read, there's a new book that's going to be coming out very soon called Lotus Eyed Lion, written by, parts of it were written and also translated by Srimati Devamai Didi. And so we'll read from that book. We'll get early access to it before it gets printed. So that will be our program for tomorrow. Thank you so much, Rukmini Didi. Yes, that's exciting. Cool.
So Prabhu, I was in response to that question, I was present with someone.
Wait, can you say what the question was?
I'm sorry. The question was about the the pure devotees in his book. So, but how do we reconcile that we? Yes, yes. So I was present with someone who was, one of those of the school that, we only need the books, and after Prabhupada leaves, we don't need any other person. So he was sitting, in a class, giving a class, and reading directly from Prabhupada's book, and skipped right over the middle of a particular verse. And because I knew the verse, I knew that he had skipped that. So at the end of the class, I asked him, "But Prabhu, it says in the middle of this verse, what about that?" But that middle part, it didn't agree with his opinion. And when he heard that he had skipped it, then he still didn't agree. I mean, like, he said something that didn't make any sense and didn't basically answer my question. So this is a thing that one can do, is that it said in that article that the meaning does not disclose itself, right?
Mm.
So, these books, they're also living, so they have the right to decide to whom they will go.
Mhm.
So it
Yes.
seemed, I mean, I wasn't in that person's mind, so I couldn't tell what was happening. But I mean, just as a person sitting in the class, it's not that I was some great scholar or something. I just could, it just didn't make sense what was happening. Like the words, they didn't even, like, even the plain meaning of the words. He just skipped whatever disagreed with what was already his own conception.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing from Padmanabha Maharaj. He was once talking with like a leading guru. I'm not going to mention the name of it because I don't want to like cause any problems. But like a very prominent person, a very prominent guru, and like he's mentioning all these things, like because he was trying to say that there's some difference between what my Gurudev is saying and Śrīla Prabhupada, and Padmanabha Maharaj started saying all these things from Śrīla Prabhupada, like really prominent, important points of Śrīla Prabhupada about on the topic of Raganuga and all that, and then this guru said, Śrīla Prabhupada never said that, and he said, "Do you have a Chaitanya Charitamrita with you?" And then he brought it to all these points, like all throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita. There, and the person was like a little bit like he couldn't say anything because it was Śrīla Prabhupada explicitly wrote all these points very clearly. But we, like Rukmini Didi saying something like, lots of times we'll approach the scriptures with our own understanding, and we're seeing it through our own filter, the filter of the conceptions we already have. And so we're not actually able to see what they're saying. We don't actually have access. And like Rukmini mentions that very important point, how the words decide, the message decide, or I forgot how he worded it, but the meaning decides to reveal itself. It's not that we can't bring it into our minds. The meaning is what, like, the words itself is independent and will decide if they want to reveal itself to us. Yeah. Yeah, so everything is in Śrīla Prabhupada's books, but do we have the right mood to approach those words? It all comes on us. I mean, it comes on us to be surrendered and have like this, and that's like one of the one point that's all throughout all of Śrīla Sarasvatī Thakur's writings everywhere is this point of arohavad and avarohavad. So aroha means ascending, going up, and avaroha means descending. And so we are not followers of the ascending process, aroha. We are followers of the avaroha pantha, the path of descending. So we don't, by our own ability, try to learn. I'm not going to go to Jaiva Dharma, like we shouldn't try to go to Jaiva Dharma, and I'm going to understand everything that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says through my own understanding. I'm going to try to figure it out. I'll memorize the verses, all the points. I got it all mapped out. Okay, I got it. I was able to grok that. But that's the Aroha Panta. No, but what we do is we before we open up Jaiva Dharma, like we just read, that we have to have this prayerful mood, and if like we approach it submissively, and with honor and respect offer pranam. And we're praying that that I can't understand the words that I'm reading here. It's 100% impossible. But if the words choose to reveal themselves to me, if they think that I am fit, and if I try to the best of my ability to follow them, and I know that it's only by the mercy of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Thakur, of my Gurudev, that there's any chance of even one drop coming in. Because if we understand one sentence of the word, then we understand the whole thing. Because once you get access to that realm, it all reveals itself to you. And so we pray that we can have access to this thing, to what we're about to read. And of course, it doesn't happen right away. It's gradual, but we always have to keep the aspiration. We always have to remind ourselves that this is what we're aspiring for. Sorry, I went on a tangent. All right. Oh, 1 second, just looking at the comments. All right, I think it's starting to get late now. Thank you so much. Sorry if I talked too much, and if I've never done this kind of thing of Iṣṭa-goṣṭhī, but if anybody, one thing, if anybody ever has any kind of critical feedback or ways that I can improve, I'm not at all sensitive in this way. Like, I really want to get feedback of what's annoying if I'm talking too much, or if I'm not giving people enough chances to speak, and any way that I can improve, I want to get better and better at doing this. And so, yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow to read Lotus-Eyed Lion. Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. All right. Dandavat pranams. See you all tomorrow.